In a luxurious private room at Ibiza Club, Hank was enthusiastically entertaining a bald man in glasses. A few alluring hostesses were by their sides, providing attentive service. "Mr. Niles, thank you for traveling all the way here. This is our show of sincerity. We hope you like it." Hank took out a check and placed it on the table, sliding it forward. The bald Niles only glanced at it before ignoring it, and he continued to drink with the beautiful women beside him. "Oh, look at me. I almost forgot to pass you a welcoming gift as well." Hank caught on immediately and took out another gift box, passing it to him with both hands. Niles opened the box and saw a gold bar that weighed a few kilograms. It was worth around $1 to $2 million. Niles chuckled gleefully. "Hank, that's so generous of you. There's no need for such extravagant gifts between us," he said as he put them away nonchalantly. "Considering you traveled from Stonia, these are nothing." While Hank smiled politely, he inwardly mused that this cunning individual seemed to be growing greedier. However, since he needed Niles' assistance, he could only remain silent. "Mr. Niles, I'm wondering if you brought anything with you on your trip this time?" Hank asked tentatively. "Don't worry, I didn't forget. This isn't the first time anyway," Niles said as he took out a small, purple vial from his pocket and passed it to Hank. Hank's eyes lit up as he reached out to receive the vial. However, Niles retracted his hand with a warning. "Mr. Hoffman, I'm just reminding you that this is an extremely valuable item. There is only one such vial made every year, and your grandmother relies on this precious herb to live. You better not lose it. Never. This treasure is more valuable than my life. I assure you, I won't lose it." Hank nodded incessantly. "Very well, I'm entrusting it to you now. You're responsible for anything that happens after," Niles said, placing the purple vial in Hank's hands. "Thank you, Mr. Niles." Hank was delighted. He took out a safe he had brought with him, carefully placing the vial in it. This item was worth a fortune and couldn't be bought with money. It was also a precious item that Alma relied on to survive. Naturally, he had to take extreme care of it. Hank Hoffman. Suddenly, the private room was violently kicked in, and a group of fighters with menacing expressions barged their way in furiously. Each of them had a knife in hand. "Who are you? How dare you make a scene in my area?" Hank's expression darkened. "You seem to be having fun, Mr. Hoffman. How is it that you have the time to be drinking here?" The men stepped aside to make way for Dustin and Nelson, who slowly walked inside. "It's you." Hank's brows furrowed. "Mr. Rhys, what is the meaning of this? There are no grievances between us. Why have you brought your men here? You son of a bitch. You're still pretending, I see. What do you mean by no grievances when you set up our leader?" Nelson bellowed. "Didn't understand what you mean." Hank acted clueless. "You ordered James to be killed, didn't you?" Dustin asked out of the blue. "James?" Hank shook his head. "I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. There must have been a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" With a frosty smile, Nelson gestured. "Bring him in." On his orders, a man covered in injuries was forcefully brought in. Hank's expression shifted at the sight of the man. He finally realized something was up. These people had come prepared. "Hank Hoffman, do you know this man?" Dustin asked calmly. "No, I don't." "Who is he?" Hank remained unyielding. "You son of a bitch." Nelson raised his hand, delivering a forceful slap that sent Hank sprawling to the ground. Nelson berated. "You're still trying to argue at this point. This man confessed to everything, and you were the one who hired him. Nonsense. I don't know any murderers. Stop making false accusations." Hank shouted in fury. "I'm warning you. I have the matriarch of the Glenstead Nicholsons backing me." At the sight of the man, he finally realized something was up. These people had come prepared. "Hank Hoffman, do you know this man?" Dustin asked calmly. "No, I don't." "Who is he?" Hank remained unyielding. "You son of a bitch." Nelson raised his hand, delivering a forceful slap that sent Hank sprawling to the ground. Nelson berated. "You're still trying to argue at this point. This man confessed to everything, and you were the one who hired him. Nonsense. I don't know any murderers. Stop making false accusations. Hank shouted in fury, I'm warning you. I have the matriarch of the Glenstead Nicholsons backing me. You dickhead. I don't think you realize the gravity of the situation. Nelson was furious and was about to smack Hank again when Dustin stopped him. You mean the Nicholsons were involved in this? Why, are you finally scared? Hank sneered. That's more like it. You'll be offending the Nicholsons if you offend me. Now, get out of here. I'm giving you one last chance. Confess and surrender yourself to the authorities, and I'll let you go. Dustin's expression was cold. What a load of crap. Hank glared at Dustin. Don't think I'm afraid of you just because you're the leader of the Flame Dragon gang. Your small gang is nothing compared to the aristocratic Nicholsons. They could exterminate you in seconds. It seems like you won't talk without a lesson. Slice his hand off. Dustin cut through the nonsense. Yes, sir. Nelson smirked. He ordered 2 of their henchmen to pin Hank to the table. Wait. I'm warning you, don't you dare touch me. The Nicholsons will not let you get away with it if you do. Hank panicked and struggled desperately. Go on, don't stop. Let's see how long you can keep up this act. Nelson raised his knife and ruthlessly brought it down on Hank's wrist. Dash. Blood splattered everywhere as Hank's blood-curdling scream echoed throughout the room. Why you? Hank's expression twisted in agony as he groaned. He couldn't believe they had hurt him. Weren't they afraid of the Nicholsons' wrath? Still not going to talk? Slice off his other hand, Dustin ordered again. Yes, sir. Without another word, Nelson raised his knife once more. Mr. Niles, save me. Hank screamed in fear. Stop right there. At that moment, Niles, who had been silent the entire time, finally stood up. Who are you? I'm warning you to mind your own business. Nelson's expression was hostile. Niles' expression darkened. Do you know who I am? How dare you talk to me like that? You must not want to live. I don't fucking care who you are. Nelson was getting impatient. The audacity. He's a prominent figure from Stonia, the Kirrin family's butler. Hank cried out. The Kirrins. Nelson could feel his eyes twitch, and his earlier arrogance disappeared instantly. The Kirrins were one of Stonia's prestigious aristocratic families. As a family with a history spanning over 100 years, they wielded immense power. Even the tremendous 3 of Millsburg were inferior to the Kirrins. After all, Stonia was the capital city. Any random, minor aristocratic family from Stonia was already leagues above any family in Millsburg, let alone an influential one like the Kirrins. Why did you go silent? Where's all that arrogance now? I dare you to try anything with the Kirrin family's butler here. Hank's expression twisted into a hideous sneer. He knew that few would dare to provoke the Kirrins. This is between us and Hank. It's best if the Kirrins stay out of it, Dustin responded calmly. Hey, kid, are you lecturing me? Niles took his time lighting a cigar before taking 2 deep puffs. With an air of arrogance, he declared, You seem oblivious to my status. Listen up, I'm not going to repeat myself. I am the Kirrin family's butler. You ants will always remain beneath me, as I hold the power to play with your lives. I can have all of you killed with just one word. Now, I order you to immediately dash. Before Niles could finish his sentence, a thunderous noise similar to an explosion rang out. He had been sent flying, crashing heavily into a wall. His bones shattered as he spewed blood, and he was rendered unconscious on the spot.